Good morning and happy Tuesday. So I've been talking about it for a couple of days. So today is my official day, 12 years since I had my last drink of alcohol. And so I didn't go through any program. Well, I went through the Tony Robbins programs because I'm a Tony Robbins guy. But so what did I do? How did I do that? Well, first thing I did, and whenever we create lasting change, these are the steps that we go through. So the first thing that I did is I got leverage. I got a reason why I made it a must that I had to stop drinking alcohol. And what happened in my case is the universe gave me my leverage, because a couple of weeks before that is when the building next to my building had collapsed. And that happened on June 15th. And so I stopped drinking on July 4th, and I thought it was like, I'm going to go for a period of time or whatever, because in that 3 weeks, I had figured out that the problem with the building was not going to get over with quickly. We didn't have a building. We didn't have files. We didn't have phones. We didn't have access to anything. We were in a temporary facility. My law partner and I at the time were working 18 hours a day, and then I would go drink 9 Coronas so I could sleep for 3 hours. And I was thinking to myself, I'm going to die if I keep that up. So I had stopped on July 4th, but I hadn't really quit yet. I was like, well, I got to do. So it was at this event that I did every year called the Aquin Open that I made the decision, I've got to do something dramatic. And I made it life or death, or I'm going to die. Because I'm going through this thing with this building. It's not going to get over with quickly. I need to be at a whole nother level of shape and health in order to deal with this. So I was at the event, and for the first time in my life, somebody got me a beer, and I had one beer, and then the second one, I took a couple of drinks, and I looked at it, and I said, you know what, I'm done. And that's when I made the decision. And the leverage was, if I don't do something like this, I'm going to die. It's life or death in order to survive this. So number one, I got a leverage. Leverage was, I've got this problem going on, and in order for me to deal with this problem, I got a whole nother level of health. So I made a decision. Got leverage, made a decision, I'm gonna quit drinking. Now, I'll tell you that even when I did that, I wasn't sure I was going to quit for the rest of my life, but I knew I was going to quit until this problem was resolved. I had definitely made that decision. Second thing that I did is I interrupted my pattern. I changed the way that I had been doing things. And I didn't just change it by stopping and drinking alcohol. I wanted a whole nother level of health. I was replacing drinking with a whole nother addiction of health. And quite frankly, this is the person that I'd always wanted to be. I had just never made the decision to actually do it. I had gone to event after event after event. It doesn't matter how many times you've tried and not gotten the result. That doesn't mean that you can't do it. The past does not equal the future. So I did a radical change. I did a 30-day juice fast, which is a really long period of time. I'm not saying that everybody should do that, but I was like, I don't care. I did a 30-day juice fast. It was in the summer, so it was a good time to do it. It was this time of year. And I started running. Now, I was 80 pounds heavier than I am now. So, when I started running, that had to be quite an interesting sight. So for 30 days, I only did juices. Morning, noon, and night. It was vegetable and fruit juices, and I did a juicer and a Vitamix so that I got the fibers. Did that for 30 days and then started running. Well, I lost a significant amount of weight. It threw me off for a while, and then all of a sudden I started sleeping better and my energy level got up. So the second thing that I did is I massively interrupted my pattern. So then the third thing that I did is I started to develop new beliefs about what was possible. And I started by just saying it out loud, telling people, I've quit drinking. I'm now on a juice diet. I'm a vegan. I'm this, I'm that. What was really interesting for me is how quickly that identity shifted. And I think a lot of that was because of the shift that happened inside of me. But I was telling everybody else, this is who I am now. I'm not a drinker, and this is what I eat, and this is how I'm going to live, and I'm going to run. And I said, I committed to this race that I ended up not being able to do because I injured myself from running too much. But I started committing to all of these things, and so I started creating new beliefs about what was possible. And I changed who I was around. I changed my location. I started spending more time with my Tony people. I listened to the Tony stuff. The people that I associated with were people that were living a super healthy lifestyle. So I started developing new beliefs about what was possible after I did that 30 days. And other people saw that in me. They started seeing all that too. So I linked it to our higher purpose, in that it was like, I've got to do this or it's life or death. I've got to do this for my daughter because she was living her dream out in California and I needed to figure that out. I got to do this for my family. I surrounded myself with people who were living more in that lifestyle, even though they weren't necessarily living by me. But one person in particular, Judy, if you ever watch this, Judy started running with me and she was in a super healthy lifestyle at the time. So she was running with me on a regular basis. We would meet up and run every day, and I started associating with people. And the new beliefs came along about what was possible, So I created a new belief system. I spoke that belief system out loud, and then I conditioned it. The more I did it, the stronger I got. And now I started seeing physical responses, right? I mean, I dropped a whole bunch of weight. I started getting healthier. My energy started going up. My brain started working better. Everything started functioning better. And so then the momentum started to kick in. And then it became about, okay, now I got to start doing this in order to get the result. Now, the financial side of the results didn't come right away. I made that decision at the end of July, and the financial side of my life really didn't start to turn around until March. I mean, I had my first successes in late fall and in the winter, like November, December. But the financial piece really didn't start turning around till March and really didn't turn around until about a year later. So sometimes it can take a while, but I got the physical results right away. The physical results started happening right away. Now, this journey went on for years, because I found out about a year later that I had significant food allergies because I was still having problems with certain things. And so I kept changing my approach when I wasn't getting the result. I would hit plateaus in terms of losing weight. I still was having some trouble sleeping. I still got sick every now and then. Well, found out my daughter had a lot of food allergies, so I went and got tested for food allergies. Well, then it turned out I had all of these food allergies. So now I needed to change my approach again. I had gotten into a habit of juicing twice a day and eating one meal a day, but I'd also gotten into the habit after I quit drinking of eating a bunch of ice cream because that sweet tooth had kicked in. Well, it turned out that I had a significant dairy allergy or intolerance, so I had to stop doing that. Turns out I needed to get rid of gluten. Well, I'd gotten into the habit of eating a whole bunch of pastas, and that wasn't working, so I had to get rid of that. And let me tell you, when I detoxed from gluten, that for me, and that's just me, but that for me was way worse than detoxing from alcohol. The detoxing from alcohol for me was actually pretty easy because I started running, I started juicing. It really wasn't that bad, but the detoxing from gluten, oh my God, that was brutal. That went on forever and was awful. The health journey still goes on. I mean, I'm still changing my approach. And you got to remember that that's part of the journey. If you're not getting your results, then you got to try something new and try something new and try something new. But the decision with regards to alcohol went from temporary to definite about 2 years later. And that was because of my daughter. We'll do more for other people than we will for ourselves. After I had not drank for about 2 years, my daughter said to me, it was the proudest thing that I had ever done for her. That was the proudest she had ever been of me, was the 2 years that I had gone without alcohol. That ended that. So that was when I quit forever. So I actually stopped because I was like, I'm going to stop until I figure out this financial stuff. And then when I had that conversation, that flipped and then I quit. And from there, it honestly has been effortless. It's not like I'm ever tempted. That doesn't happen. So How did I do it? Number one, I got leverage. I got massive leverage. It's life or death. If I don't do this, I'm going to die. Number two, massively interrupted my pattern. Did something significant that didn't just interrupt my pattern with regards to alcohol. I interrupted everything. Changed the way I ate. Changed the way I exercised. Changed the people that I was spending time with. Changed everything that I could. So I interrupted my pattern. Number three, I started to condition the new stuff. I started creating new beliefs about who I am. I am not a drinker. I'm a non-drinker. I'm a person who eats this way. I'm a person who exercises. I surrounded myself with people that supported those beliefs. I linked it to a higher purpose that I had to take care of my family. I had to take care of my daughter. I linked it to a higher purpose and that this is now going to take me to the level that I want to go. And this is the person that I've always wanted to become. And then I changed my approach as I was going along. I tried different things. If on the health journey, I made it more than just about quitting alcohol. I made it about completely revamping my health, which I ultimately did. But took a while. That took a period of time. Things didn't come automatically. Some things came and then eventually I had to do other stuff. And then I conditioned that. The more I did stuff, the better I felt. Now, did I have times, I was a year and a half into it when I detoxed from gluten, and that detox was awful. So did I feel great while I was doing that? No, but I kept talking to the people that had gone through it. I talked to people who had been there, and they said, when you get on the other side, you're going to feel a ton better. And I did. It took a while, but I did. Eventually, I got there, and I did feel a ton better. And then, again, linked to a higher purpose and conditioned with my daughter and becoming a role model in that sense, in the sense of you can do this too if you go through this particular process. So any lasting change really goes through those steps. I didn't join a program and do a program, not because I had anything against the program. My program is Tony Robbins. That's the program that I do and that I believe in. But if you go through the big book, it's really the same steps. They break it down into more steps, but it's really the same process. And anytime you've created a lasting change, that's the process that you've done. So happy 12 years. I'll never drink the rest of my life. I know that, but I'm super glad that event happened, which resulted in me finally becoming at the level of health that I always wanted to. So the last thing that I learned from that, and that we should all learn, is that was a horrible day when that happened. And that event was catastrophic financially. But it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. So our worst days many times can be our best day, because when things don't go well, that's when we become more of who we are supposed to be. A diamond becomes a diamond because it goes under such pressure. It's a lump of coal that's put under so much pressure, it becomes the most beautiful and the hardest substance on the planet. When we go through massive pressure, we do the same thing. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We got everybody on here. Chris, thank you so much. Valerie, Mr. Lampy, great to see you. Tony, thanks for hopping on. Jen, Christina, Teresa, Janet, thanks so much. My goodness, it's great to see you. Jeffrey, Janine Wingert, thank you so much for hopping on. I'm honored that you did. Rhonda, Mr. Dakin, brother, good to see you. I haven't seen you forever. Valerie, Abby, good to see you this morning. Miss Copeland, please say hi to your hubby. Jan, thank you very much for the happy 2 years. And Jody, say hi to your stud puppy too. Thank you so much. I'm honored that everybody hops on and says hi. Hope you got value. Leave comments in the chat, and I will get back to all of you. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.